Okay. Welcome, folks. We're just getting started here. I hope I'm live. Let's see. I think we are live. If anyone wants to confirm that, that'd be great. We're going to go ahead and get started. And today we're building a calculator. How exciting. So we're doing more Python. It's a Saturday night here in Austin, and it's pretty lousy. I mean, it's very, very, very cold. And DoorDash was taking forever. It's still taking forever. So I'm going to enjoy some nice pizza after I get out of this stream. So whoever's asking me for dinner, we're having Little Caesars pizza. But if you guys are here in chat, go ahead and say hi. And we're going to get started building a calculator today. So it's going to be pretty cool. So, welcome to the channel. And I'm super excited that you guys are here tonight. My name is Tay, or Taylor. And we're going to be building a awesome, simple calculator using Python. And we're going to be learning about different things that you can do with Python and kind of the way that you build out this program. After the stream has ended, there will be a GitHub repo that will be put in the description, and I will also tweet it out. So don't be afraid to look for that as well. You can mess with it, clone it. It's just for your own reference, okay? So, let me make sure my chat's working. Once I make sure my chat's working, we're going to be good. There we go. Okay, so the chat's on. We're good. And let's go ahead and get this thing on the road. So, do I have anyone in my chat? Anyone's here? If not, we're going to get started. Either way. Alright. I don't think I see anyone in the chat. So, it's okay. If you're in the comments, say hi. Always love to see people. That's always awesome. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to start making a calculator. Sound good? Alright. Alright. Let me close the Safari window. There we go. Alright. So, I'm going to open up a terminal. Before I do that, let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to open up my terminal, and we're going to go to our documents folder. Hello, Doug. Welcome to the stream. And so I'm in my documents folder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new folder. So I'm going to call this calculator. So MK, oops, if I can type right, calculator. Alright, and so I made my calculator folder, and I need to cd, so I need to change my directories. I'm using the terminal, so what we're going to do is I'm going to change directories. So cd calculator. I can also press tab, and it will fill in the rest of that. So calculator, and I'm going to do code space period. Simply put, that will open up my current folder in VS Code. And Doug, there is no speech. That is intentional. I've had a lot of people, including others, and craziness go on with speech. And so what I'm doing is I'm describing everything that I'm doing just for the fact that this is also a mainstream stream. So people who are blind, that is a good question. I'm not going to be putting on speech, again, just because this is also a mainstream stream. As well as I've been having a lot of spammers in my chat, and I don't really want that being read aloud. So I'm describing everything I'm doing, and I'm going to be putting code samples in chat. Okay, so I'm going to open up the current folder in code, and that will allow us to start making our folders, or our files, excuse me. So code period. Okay. I'm going to do Command N, that will open up a new file. Command S to save. I'm going to call this calculator.py. Enter. Alright, so now I made my calculator.py. It's in my folder, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure my window is maximized. Alright. Okay. Now, first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and get a couple things out of the way. So this calculator is going to ask the user for a couple different numbers, and it's going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So what do you do if you're not sure how to solve a problem like this? Let's go ahead and break it down. So if you're not sure how to solve a problem like this, maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. There's a little bit of things that you can do. You can look up a tutorial online and be like, okay, how do I build a calculator? Well, I need to break that down. So what do I need to do to build a calculator? Which is called pseudocode. You're planning out your steps. You could also use different tools. For example, I've got GitHub Copilot. And I don't want to abuse this tool. What I like to do, especially if you guys are new, is I like to see how people could solve it online. Because GitHub Copilot, recall, uses Stack Overflow and other machine learning models to help you code better. And it's a free technical preview right now. You guys can go ahead and sign up for it. I already have it. But I'm just going to use it. And the way I use it is commenting. So let me just write make calculator. Now, I will not accept any of the solutions that it gives me, but I want to see how people solve it, because I have an idea of how I want to solve it, but I want to share with you guys different solutions. So I'm going to press Control Enter, and it will literally bring up different solutions for me. Okay, so a solution was to use a graphical user interface. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's not very helpful. Well, don't worry, because I know how to make this calculator without GitHub Copilot. So, I just wanted to kind of show you guys what could happen. But maybe I'm like, how do I add different numbers? Well, I can put that in here. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get two numbers from the user. So I'm going to go ahead and actually make a function. Does anyone in chat know what a function is? What is a function? Anyone know? If you don't, that's no big deal. And if you do in the comments, go ahead and say what a function is in the comments. Does anyone have any idea what a function is? I'm just going to give it a second, and or else I'm going to go ahead and describe it. And while I'm waiting for that, folks, go ahead and check out our Programming for Everyone meetup. We had that one on Thursday, and it was awesome. So you guys should go check out the video of that, and it's on this channel. All right, I'm not seeing any chat messages. Let me make sure that I have all of them, though. Okay. All right. Yes, Wagner says it's when you use def. Yes, but more specifically, I'm looking for more of a general terminology, like what does a function do? But yes, you use def to define it. So a function is basically how you can, for example, repeat code. In a sense, you can use it and you can call it in multiple places. So it's almost like, for example, I'm going to have a function called add. So anytime I want to add numbers, I'm going to run the add function. So it's basically a way to reuse code, so that way you didn't have to type in the same code over and over and over and over and over again. It basically helps you to reduce the amount of code by repeating necessary blocks in a def statement. Correct. Wagner's right. So we've got Doug, we've got Wagner. Anyone else in the chat? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and define a function, and I'm going to call it menu. Simply put, our menu function, or I could also call it main, is going to allow us to select different options. So what do I mean by this? Our menu option, main or menu will allow us to select our different options. And yes, welcome, Catherine. Yep, welcome. I'm super glad that you're here. So basically what we're going to do is, in simple terms, we're going to create a function that will allow us to have all these different functions and check what operation the user entered. Alright, so we have some new folks to the channel, so I just want to a little bit explain about who I am, because I think that we've got some new folks in chat. So again, my name is Taylor, or Tay, and I am a legally blind Python programmer. That's right, I am legally blind. So I use a screen reader, which is basically a tool that helps read the screen aloud. It allows me to be able to see everything that you guys see. It is just read out to me aloud, and it's obviously very fast. As a result, all my chat messages are literally read aloud in a different voice. So when I was talking about earlier about spammers, it's literally read aloud. So it reads the chat messages as they come in. And so that is just how that works. So I've been doing YouTube for a while. This is my friend Michael and my boyfriend Michael Dowies in our shared channel where we do programming, gaming, and other content. So if you guys like this, go ahead and subscribe. But I just wanted to take a sidebar to introduce ourselves, since I saw that we had a few new folks. Okay, so back to our program. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this menu or main function. I'm going to call it menu, just for simplicity, just that way you guys know what it does. So the menu function, it will go ahead and ask the user for their number, so number 1, number 2, and operation. It will then check to see which function it needs to run, okay? So we'll use some conditional statements to check to see which function needs to run. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with that for now. So I'm going to open up my code editor. I've already opened up a terminal, and I have my code in front of me. Let me go ahead and get out of this chat view, and let's go ahead and start some Python code, folks. All right, so I'm going to do def menu. Oops. So def left parenthesis, right parenthesis, and it doesn't take any parameters. So basically it won't take any parameters or arguments in the actual function itself, because this is just a function that has empty parameters that will run, at the bottom of the file. So I'm going to do colon. This is an indented block, so anything under a function is indented. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say while, so what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to do a while true, like I've done in previous things, because, again, we want to check. So while true. Remember, while is lowercase, true is uppercase. While true colon. So we've got two different indentations. So while true is a loop, and then everything under here will be under the while true. So we're going to say num1 equals, and I'm actually going to put in my, actually no, sorry. Let me reverse that. I'm actually going to go ahead and add a different statement up here above that says, would you like, so problems. Basically, every time the loop runs, it will ask if you'd like to solve a different problem. So I'm going to go above here, and I'm going to say this is going to be basically making sure that they want to calculate something else. And, no, sorry. We're actually going to do that a little bit. So, never mind. Let me backtrack. Num1 equals, sorry, my boyfriend just got food. Input, so I'm not going to do int yet, because I want to make sure that I can see if the number is not equal in terms of the exit, because I want to make sure that people can exit my program. So I'm going to try input first, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and turn it into an int when I try to add it up. So, input, please type your first number, second number, camel case, remember, so first letter is lowercase, second letter is uppercase. So second number equals input, please type your second number. And then I'm going to do a series of if statements. But before I do that, I need to check for operation. So I'm going to say operation, equals input. Please type your operation. So basically I want it to type your operation, so addition, so I'm going to write possible include plus, minus, asterisk, or multiplication, and slash division. Okay? Now, I've written that all out. So I've checked in for the name in terms of the numbers. I've also checked for the operations. Now what we're going to do, so we also have a function, is we're going to go ahead and write up some if statements. But we're not going to actually write them up in terms of fully yet because we don't have our code. Meaning we don't have the result code that we need. So what we're going to do is we're going to do pass, which basically is kind of a placeholder. So we're going to put our if statements, but we're going to put pass, and that way we can move on, and that way it'll just skip that for now until we're ready. Okay, so we're going to put pass. So here's what we're going to do. If operation, and actually I'm just going to go ahead and make a new line. I like to make new lines, that way I can separate things. So if operation equals plus pass. Then I'm going to backspace to make sure that I can get to the previous level of my first indentation of the other if. So elif operation equals minus pass. Whoops. I messed that up. But basically what I was able to do is I just used some code snippets and I did the rest of these operations, and then I did an else statement. And the else statement, what that will do is it will make sure that if none of these operations are picked, it will say, I'm sorry, you need to do that again. Okay, so it'll do some fail-safe validations. Okay. So continue, I can get rid of this. Okay. Now I have a feeling that there's some errors with my code. So I'm going to go ahead and run it, make sure we're okay. But I have a feeling there's some problems and I want to catch them early. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the menu function and make sure that there's no indentation. Menu. Left paren, right paren. So let me go ahead and run my file by doing my terminal, Python 3, whoops, Python, hold on, calculator, that pi, okay. Alright, so we've got an invalid syntax, so line 10, so let's go ahead and fix that. I had a feeling something was wrong here. Okay. Okay, let me. Okay. Let's see. Oh, you know what? It needs to be 8 faces. And I can also hear it because, again, it makes a different sound. So if you're blind, you can hear if there's an error in your code because it makes a different sound in VS Code. It's pretty cool. Let me go fix these other ones. Yeah, indentation is super important, folks. Remember, anything under code block has to be indented. Code blocks include classes, functions, if statements, elif, all that stuff. So you have to make sure it's like braces in other languages. You need to make sure that your code is indented properly. And it's very hard if you're blind. And that's why things like the indent report extension are super helpful. Alright. Okay. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and run it now and see if I can get anything different. Please type my first number. Boom. There we go. Okay, so now it worked, right? So now it worked in terms of we have a program that is not running errors. All right, let me go ahead and quit this program. So now we need to make our functions. So we have our menu function that basically, again, it checks to see which function we're going to be running after the operation that is picked. And it also allows us to type in our numbers. So I called it menu. And of course, I went to the bottom of the file and I ran the menu function. Because if I didn't run the menu function, our file would not run. Okay, so our file would not actually run properly. So I'm going to go ahead and comment, actually. And I'm going to say the menu. I commented by pressing command question mark. Or command, what is this? Let's see. Yes. Function allows users to type numbers type operation and checks operations, checks input to see what function should run. So basically that's what this does. Basically it checks to see which function should run after they type in the operation, and it also allows them to type in their numbers for the first time, and it runs the program flow. So we've already made one function. It's called menu. Do I have any questions in my chat before I start the next one? Let me go ahead and go to the bottom. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and put the code in chat. It's not a very good solution, but at least you guys can see it. And it will be on GitHub as well. So let me know. Do you guys have any questions? Is anybody still here? I'm just going to give me a second here. Awesome. It's making sense. Cool. Hopefully you're learning a lot. All right. Our menu function has been created. Let's go ahead and make our add function now. So remember, this function is our add function. Our add function is going to be executed every time we hit that plus sign. Because we check to see if that operation is plus, equals plus, then run add function. But you notice we didn't put the add function there yet because we didn't have one. Well, it's now time to create an add function. So here's what we're going to do. After the print you've typed a valid number, I'm going to go down and make sure I get a new line. And I'm going to say the add function allows users, add function adds the two numbers. Basically, the add function adds the two numbers. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do def add, and then we're going to have some arguments in here. So, we're going to have def add. Def add num1, num2, and those are separated by commas. Then, after we have our def num1, num2, we're going to have return int n num1 plus num2, and those are integers because again we left them as strings so that we'd be able to exit the program later on. So we left them as strings so that we could exit the program when the user types in E, which we're going to implement in a minute. Okay? But actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this. So I'm going to say return, I'm going to say result equals. And then I'm going to return the result. That way I have this variable, and that way I can be able to do that. Now what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go ahead and print this out. So I'm going to, okay. We did an int left parent num1 plus num2, and we made those integers. That way we could be able to add them together. Okay, so return result. Whoops. Hold on. I messed up my code. Alright, return menu. Sorry. Result. Let's go ahead and run it and see what we get here. See if we made this work. 5, 4. Okay, so that didn't work. Okay, so why didn't it work? We never added the add function properly. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So let me go ahead and remove this pass here. And then 1 second number. Alright. Okay, 5. Okay. So that didn't work either. Okay, so let's go make sure that I save my file. Try it again. Alright. And the thing is that we need to be able to write this out. So what we need to do, after we made sure that we did this. Alright. Is I'm just going to print this out for now. Print left parenthesis results. Okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, wait, hold on. I think it's, hold on a second. 1. Okay, so it's not working. Okay. So, it didn't work, and what we're going to do is I put this in too far, I think, so let me fix that. Alright. I put this in too far because I was just running into the other code. Indentation can be fun, making sure you have it in the right spot. Alright, LF, there we go. Basically, again, you guys are seeing how live coding works. You're seeing how sometimes you make mistakes. And it's all about trying to fix them. And that's kind of what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be fixing our mistakes. This should actually work. Okay. Oop. Okay, let me go put this in. Alright, let's see what we get now. Okay. Give it an error. Alright. And again, I heard my error sound. Oops. Shoot. Okay. So, what we're going to do is, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something different here. So, you've been able to see that sometimes things don't work the way we want. So, what do? Well, you can go look online and figure out what you did wrong. Or, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you. Okay. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to comment out some lines. And we're going to debug. This is called debugging, the process of errors. So basically, it's not running the other code right, because Python runs the thing top to bottom. So it doesn't run it properly. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to okay. I have to put this out of the loop, I think. There we go. I like this not error sound, because I'm able to hear if there's a problem. Which indeed, I do have a problem. Right, I have a problem. And I can hear it. Alright, let's go ahead and try this now. Alright, I got an error. Operation is not defined. Okay. Well. Okay. So, let's see what we can do here. Okay, we got an error. So, that's not going to work either, because we have it in a function. So here's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead, and I think this is time when we need to restart, rethink. So we're going to start simple. I think that we tried to go way too complicated. So what we're going to do for now is we're going to have these add functions. And we're not going to have a function in terms of all these. We're just going to have the add function, and the menu function will just be kind of the top of the file. The thing is that it was very complicated, and that's not what we want. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to have our functions first in terms of our add, subtract, multiply, divide, and then we're going to have our main function. So let's go ahead and reboot, restart in terms of that, or if you got yours to work, no problem. But I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit simpler for us. So we're going to do def. Before I do that, though, I need to define my number. So I'll just do that up here. So num1 equals input. Please type your first number. Num equals input. Please type your second number. Operation. Oops. Okay. Equals input, please type your operation. Okay. Then we're going to do def add left paren num1 num2 and returning num1 plus num2. And for now, we're just going to assume it's adding, so we're going to run the program. Okay, so now we're going to say add. Num1 plus num2. Okay? Alright, let's see what we have here. Add is not defined, okay? There we go. Now we have to run it. So I'm going to say print num1 plus num2, run it. 5, 5. Okay, and it did not run. There we go. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run it, and it's going to work. But let's say that we're kind of stuck, and let's go ahead and do something interesting. So let's go ahead and see if we want to have it figure out how to add numbers. So let's just type in our Copilot, again, if you're stuck, how to add numbers, Python. And it will use our existing code to give us a solution. So I like to do this if I get stuck. Okay. Print num1, okay. Okay, so I'm going to print num1 plus num2. Again, I like to start simple and work my way up. Okay? I like to work my way up. 5. Okay, so that worked. Let me make sure that that works. So 4, 2. Wait, that's subtracting. Hold on. Second, let me try that again. 1, 1. Interesting. Okay. Why are we doing that? So 1, 1. Interesting. Okay. So let's do this then. I know that we have the sum function. Oh, you know what? Int. Because it was an integer. So int, left parenthesis, right parenthesis. Because it wasn't an integer. Okay. Oops. It was not an integer. So, here's what we're going to do. Print. So, print int. So, print integer. Alright. So you have to do integer or else it will not convert. Meaning it will not add it. Oh shoot. 7. There we go. So learning the lesson here is that you must add an integer in order for it to work. So you have to add an integer. The integer, so the int left parenthesis will convert the string, make it an integer. Okay, so now we've added numbers. Perfect. So again, the thing is that you need to work out simple. Don't start all complicated and fancy because it will not work. And that's something that, I've learned, right? You want to start simple, break up the problem. So here's what we're going to do. I've already used my logic. I've already used my logic in terms of this. I already have so we could do this with functions or we could do it without functions. And I'm going to actually show both ways. So I'm going to show both ways in terms of this so that you guys can see it with functions and without functions. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the bottom here and I'm going to do the if operation equals plus colon again, it made a noise. Alright, so let's go ahead and try this now. So we made 4. Okay? And it did not run. So now we know that worked, right? We know that adding if statement worked. So this is with if statements, right? This is with if statements because I want to show you guys how you can do it both ways. You can add functions you'll have functions for the calculator operations, or you could just do it via elif and if statements. So that way you guys can pick what you want to do. So we're first doing it with if statements. So if operation equals plus, then print int left parenthesis num1 plus num2. We could also do results. So we could say result equals int num1 plus num2, and then we could write it off fancy like saying the result is so-and-so. So let's actually go ahead and change it a little bit. And plus, I'm going to say result equals int num1 plus num1 int left parenthesis num2. Then I could do this. I could do print. I could do print the result is plus str. That way I can convert it to a string result. That way I can convert it to a string. str will convert it to a string. And that way I can make sure it will show up visually. So the result is plus str, or I could do comma. I like to do comma because it will add more space. At least that's what I was told visually. Not sure if it will or not. Let's go ahead and run it though. The result is 7. So now we made that work. Alright, we went ahead and we made that work. We said the result is 7, and that is correct. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing for the other operations. Okay, so equals. And again, I automatically filled in my code, so I did the minus. The result is str result, so on and so forth. And I'm doing the same thing. If operation equals, quote, minus, quote, quotation mark, print, result, so on and so forth. So I'm literally doing the same thing, and it's basically I'm making if statements. Actually, you know what? I screwed up. This should be elif. Because it's basically checking. If it's if, then it would basically be separate statements. But these are actually all together. So it's saying, if it's this, do this. But if it's not, keep going. I don't want to do elif. I'm sorry, I don't want to do if. I want to do elif. So elif, operation equals minus, result equals, so on and so forth. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. So elif, operation equals multiplication, print, result, the same code we had above, so you can literally copy, paste, and that is what I'm doing. I'm just doing copy, paste, and copy, paste. Okay, so elif. Alright. Elif. I'm just copy, paste. Equals division. Print. Oops. Print, the result is str result. Alright, let's go ahead and test our code. Okay. 5 minus. Okay. Okay, one more. Okay. Now, that will be a float, but we could also do the slash operator. So let's go ahead and do that for our division. And that will make it so it's a whole number. So let's make sure that that's right. Yes. So the double slash will make sure it's a whole number versus the single slash will make sure it's a float. So just keep that in mind. So I just did a double slash. So now we have a basic calculator. It's very basic. It doesn't even include a loop or anything in that manner. But it gets the job done. But don't worry, we're not done yet. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to do the next level. So we're going to add the loop, and then we're going to talk about functions. Okay? So, because you notice, this is a lot of code. Hi, Pound. This is a lot of code in order to repeat. So, we're going to go ahead and make this a lot easier for us. And what we're going to do is we're going to make our menu function and show you guys how much easier it's going to be. Because, honestly, this is a lot of code. So, getting rid of all this crap. And def add left parenthesis, num1, num2. And we're going to say return int. Int num2. And that way, because we have it in strings right now, that what we can check for exiting, we have to do int, it's a string, so we have to do int to make sure it will convert. So we have to convert types. The reason we did that is to make sure that it would exit properly. Because if we had an int, it would be hard to exit the program. Okay, so int. Okay. Alright. Now, let's go ahead and do this. If operation equals plus add num1, num2. So let's go ahead and test it. Alright, what's our problem here? Add not defined. Okay. That's because we need to move it. We need to move this so that it's below the add function. Okay. And what we're going to do is I said return int. I'm going to go ahead and call this result equals int num1 plus m2. That way we can convert both these numbers. Print result. I'm just going to make sure this function works. Okay. Let's see if I can make this work now. Oops. Oops. Okay. Now it did not run now. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to not have this work, I guess. Okay. There we go. Now I think it's working. Boom. It worked. We have 2 plus 4. Awesome. So now it works. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit better. So what we did is we made sure that our ints are converting. So we converted between ints and floats. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure that we do this for the rest of these. So let me go ahead and put this function in the code. Hopefully this makes sense, guys. And again, the way that I'm doing this is kind of a little bit weird, but I'm doing it on purpose so that you guys can follow. Okay. Remember, Python, all the stuff starts from the top. So anything that you need to run, you have to make sure that it's at the top or first, because that way you can make sure that it will execute. It goes from top to bottom. And so we have to make sure that that's why these functions might not run properly. Okay. So I'm going to say print the result is print left parenthesis the result is, and then we're going to put str, which will convert the result back to a string to print out to the user. Or I could just say is an int, right? So it's an int. So I could just say quotation mark, comma, result. Okay, so I'm going to save it. 5. Oops. Wait, really? The result is 9. The result is comma result. So that way I made sure that the result is printed and it's a number on the screen. So now we've added our add function. Let's go ahead and do the same for our subtraction function. So subtraction, def, subtract, left parenthesis, num1, num2 as arguments, colon, and of course it filled it in for us. So the same code, we've got the result again, num1 minus num2. Make sure that that's both integers. And we have our print. The result is result. Okay. Let's see. Oh. And now we've got our subtraction function. And now we can go ahead and check to see if that is able to be used when we hit subtract by doing another if statement. If operation equals minus subtract num1 minus num2 as arguments. Let's go ahead and run a program. Please type my first number. 4, 2. Okay? What happened? Something didn't work too well, did it? Let's find out. Okay. But you know what? We have to do that as elif. So, here's the thing. Wait, actually. Let's try this again. So it's elif. The result is 1. There we go. The result is 1. There we go. So now we made sure that our result is 1. We're going to do the same thing for our multiplication function. Def multiply num1, num2. We're going to have our print our result in the format that we had it before. And we're going to go ahead and add another condition in our set of if statements to check to see if this is, when the number is multiplied, go ahead and add in terms of, when the number is multiplied, go ahead and run the multiplication function. So, I'm going to go ahead and move that out of there. elif operation equals quotation mark asterisk colon multiply Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay. All right. Multiply. Left parenthesis. And num1, num2. Let's go ahead and run it now. Please type my first number. 5, 5. The result is 25. All right. We got one more to write. So one more to write, and then we'll be good in terms of this, and then we just have to add our main function. Okay. So def divide. Oops. Left parenthesis. Num1, num2, and the thing is with the division function, I want to make sure that our slashes are correct. So what I want to go ahead and do is I want to do a double slash, which will in turn make it a whole number instead of a floating point number. So if you do double slash, it's a float, or sorry, it's a whole number. Slash, slash. So let's go ahead and see if it runs. 4, 2. Whoops. Oh, you know what? I didn't add my calculator, my thing here. I have to do our division. So elif operation equals divided num1, num2, 2. Okay, let's see what happened here. Operation. You can tell that I'm hungry, folks, because I am not thinking right moment. 4, 2. The result is 2. Phew. Okay, so the only thing we have left to do is to add our menu function. So our menu function indeed is going to take all of these functions and is also going to make a loop. So after that, folks, we are done with this calculator. And I'm hoping that teaches you how to do different things with Python. I'm hoping that this will allow you to be able to use Python to be able to do basic mathematical operations. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take all of these little thingies here. And, well, okay. I'm getting all over the place here, so def add. Okay. Okay, so def menu. Whoa. Hold on. While true. Whoops. While true, colon. Okay. That does not need to be uppercased. I'm sorry, indented. Alright. And alright. Folks, actually, here's what we're going to do. I've decided that because of this whole deal, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to make a menu next time. But this is a basic calculator that you guys can use. But I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a menu next time. Just because I am really hungry. So, my food did not get here in time. But folks, this has been a great stream. Any more questions? I'm going to go ahead and end it. If there's not, I might actually end up redoing the stream because it is pretty pitiful. But, folks, this has been a great day, great stream. And I'm going to go ahead and probably redo this eventually because it is pretty terrible. But, yeah. Well, folks, I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye, everyone.